Thanks a lot for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. Like I hinted earlier, it's time to take a look now at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers this morning. And we have a splash of stories, as always, at least 10 papers here with us. We begin with this Nigeria, a focus on the state of the judiciary. It says, Supreme Court justices to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, you are corrupt. 14 justices accused Chief Justice of Nigeria of being irresponsible, morally decadent. And the CJN Tanko Mohammed is saying they now blame economic crunch for decline in judges' welfare. We'll get to that in a moment. But then Daily Trust is also leading with that slant. It says how unresolved feud between CJN and justices led to public spat. How unresolved feud between CJN and justices led to public spat. Let's look at First News now. Insecurity is the big story there. Declare IPOB terrorist organization. Buhari begs US, UK. That must be a fallout of the interview he had with Bloomberg about a day ago. Nigerian News Direct now. Ministerial appointment. Buhari nominates Umana Adegoroye, 5 others for Senate's confirmation. That's Nigerian News Direct. Leadership is next. Voter registration surge. Stakeholders worried over January collection date for new PVCs. That's ahead of the general election. And then we go to The Nation, why we dropped subsidy removal plan by the president. We can't ignore human consequences of such action. Only CBN board can determine Emefiele's fate. And US, UK should blacklist IPOB. That's from the president there. Interesting takeaways there. Still on the president's message to Western governments, and that's in The Guardian. Nigeria operates own economic model, rolls out fuel subsidy removal. Western countries implement fuel subsidy, ask Nigeria to remove it. Defend CBN interventions, says only its board can sanction Emefiele for alleged infraction. Prescribe IPOB, stop shielding its leaders. President urges Western governments. Buhari dumps Amechi, Akpabio. Others sends new ministerial nominees to the Senate. If time permits, that also looks interesting, worthy of some discussion here in the studio. To the economy now, the national economy says no marketer must sell petrol above 165 naira per litre. That's according to the federal government, as Lagos commercial bus operators hike fares. A fallout of the fuel scarcity still being witnessed here. Depot owners also lamenting escalating costs. The Punch is next. Fuel scarcity worsens. Black market booms at 300 naira per litre. Marketers insist on price increase. Fuel stations adjust pumps. Hoard products. Motorists lament 100% fare hike. Marketers differ on 1 billion naira payment to the NNPC, and President Buhari says, is quoted there to say, we can't justify subsidy removal, Western countries subsidizing fuel too. The Daily Times is our next paper to look out. President Buhari also being quoted there as why Nigeria hasn't removed fuel subsidy. That is kind of reflected in Business Day, our next paper to study. Nigeria faces fiscal time bomb, says the World Bank. Nigeria faces fiscal time bomb, says World Bank. And to the Blueprint, the big story there is on its lectures and awards. UN Deputy Scribe Amina Mohammed, Adeshina Okonjo-Iweala, all acclaimed global brand ambassadors. That's for the Blueprint. And finally, at this time, the Daily Telegraph, double-digit rise for state pension and benefits. Inflation-linked increases to go ahead despite calls for workers' pay restraints. That's a bit of some foreign news now across Europe. All right, so we talked about, the looming crisis, so to speak. Well, if all hands don't get on deck to tackle what we see, a worrying trend in the judiciary, and of all places, the Apex Court, Sam and Kelly. There's talk over the weekend. There was talk about a leaked letter by about 14 justices of the Supreme Court, led by the number 2, Justice Ariwala. So if I got the name well, but it falls down to welfare issues, health concerns, structural issues,
pocketbook,
pay, even traveling allowances.
The list is endless. It is really absurd.
The list is endless.
It's like there's no justice in the house of justice. That's what it is. That's what they are crying. That the Chief Justice, they are saying the Chief Justice is corrupt. When justices accuse the head as corrupt, you know that there is crisis in the judiciary. The judiciary has never been to that state where members of the panel, the cathedral of Nigerian justice, is under the gun for corruption. We have been talking about corruption in the judiciary for a long time. Even we've heard the stories of justices who have actually been derobed. There have been a few who have been derobed because they were corrupt. They didn't follow the justice. And this same justice, as head of the Nigerian Judicial Commission, presided over issues of injustice or corrupt justices in the country. There have been a number of them who have gone. Now, for the same man to be under the gun for being corrupt, it's an unprecedented thing to do.
And rightly so.
How do you seek redress? They say they don't have. They're supposed to go on trips. Part of it is a pocketbook issue. It's like, I'm not happy. When Martin Luther King was accusing the church of being corrupt. Part of the reason they accused him was that he too was looking for something for his own pocket, and so on. Even during the crisis of the Reformation in the church and so on. But they said they are not getting the money they have. They're not going for trips that they should go to.
And they don't go with their assistants. Unlike the CJN.
They don't have the power cuts inside the justice, inside the court. There is power cut in their own home. They don't get diesel supplies. They don't get the allowances. But they're implying that the Chief Justice is getting everything he wants. To the extent that his two sons have also succeeded in securing slots into the as party representatives into the House of Representatives. So they feel that this man is a compromised Chief Justice. Now, how do you now deal with an issue where the Chief Justice is in such a situation? The only way you can do that is to sue the Chief Justice. We've seen the situation of Onogen, in the man who was there before him.
Walter Onogen.
Yeah, Walter Onogen was accused of being
not declaring
his assets. That he had money and he didn't declare it, and it was actually a very messy situation because
it was.
Because it's like you want to deal with a man for another reason, but you have a reason to deal with him, and then you deal with him, and then the man is actually guilty, but you know that both parties are guilty, but one is more powerful than the other. In this case, how do you do it? Shakespeare once said that when the resolution comes to the hand that committed wrong, or as I put it, when correction comes to the hand that committed wrong, to whom shall we complain?
Absolutely. And you brought out the example of Onogen,
yes,
of Justice Onogen, now retired. Now, of course, that was a war between him and the executive, because it's been said that the CCB Code of Conduct Tribunal or Bureau now is an appendage of the executive. But in this case now, this is a war within within itself. And it's been said, how will the House stand? Where a critical body, the apex court, of course, we're having, it's of course the last say, they have the final say now in court
I'm
issues.
Just wondering
how will they come out of this?
I'm just wondering perhaps for how long has this been ongoing? For the 14 justices to finally come out or make it this open. Were there engagements or conversations with the Chief Justice of Nigeria?
They say there was. They say there was sometime in March.
So it shows that this has been ongoing for quite some time. And it also, somehow, is a slap on this particular administration. Because if you fired the man who was there before, Walter Onogen, for corruption, and nothing has been said about this particular person who is there now as the Chief Justice of Nigeria until the 14 justices of the Supreme Court are coming out to reveal all of this, then I think that there's a big slap on this particular administration. Having said that, I mean, I'm not very interested in whether he goes with his sons or goes with his family members. But then, when the justices are saying there are power cuts, we are compelled to work between the hours of 8 and 4. Mm-hmm. We know the backlog of cases we have. I mean, I have visited the prisons once or twice, and you see people who are there who are crying, who need someone to just attend to them, who need to be out of that place. Some of them are even innocent. But they are there, there's a backlog of cases and all of that. But these very critical issues have not been addressed. So for me, I feel the government, the executive needs to respond. This administration would need to respond to this as soon as possible, because if, of course, you said it before, a house that is divided against itself cannot stand. So it even shows that if the justices are aggrieved, I wonder what their performance is.
That's what I said. If correction lies in the hand that committed wrong, to whom shall we complain? I know, this is another thing here. You see, lawyers always say you cannot be a judge in your own cause.
In your own case,
These justices are becoming judges in their own cause.
It may
and for good reason.
There's also a saying that
they're upending the mantra of justice inside the House of Justice. And when they are doing it, they seem to be doing it right. That you can actually be a judge in your own cause.
Because right now they seem to have no one to fight their cause for them.
They have to fight it themselves.
They say the letter leaked. Of course, in the CJN's defense now, his aides have come out to say that the issues of welfare is all due to the economic crunch the whole world is facing. The judiciary is, of course, not immune to it. But then the trend now is...
It doesn't affect
is this the solution? Is this the solution? You know, is this stance the solution to the looming crisis? Because you can even stretch this further to say we may even need to call for a review of cases that have been heard under this kind of situation or conditions that these critical people serve under. They talked about, comparing them to the executive, those in the legislature, and how they seem to, bear the brunt. They always seem to have the lower end of the stick.
So the question is, what will the judges do? Are they going to end as complainant? Or are they going to sue the Chief Justice?
I don't think
it was also interesting to see
the only way you can become a judge in your own cause.
Absolutely.
Is to become a judge in your own cause. Because I think in justices they call it nemo judes in causa sua.
Right.